when you have such a robust practice that you
Mm.
did,
Mhm.
what were like the initial, because first we have a thought in our mind, but what were those steps for you before you actually said, okay, I'm going to break my lease. I'm going to, just say no to everything that is coming my way, no to the patients, and say yes to me. Like, take us through that time of your life and probably the nights and the days leading up to this like major life decision.
It's so interesting because it was really in the moment. There wasn't like a build up. There was just a sensation. And I was trying to build a new clinic, a multidisciplinary clinic with other people. And I was bringing people into my practice. And so the whole business was on the brink of change in any case.
Wow.
And it was just a moment where I looked at the people that I was going to work with, and I looked at the space that we were about to take over. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. And because I had such a background in things like human design, which is essentially a decision-making strategy tool thing, and I'm a
Right.
splenic generator for anyone who knows human design, so I do make decisions in the moment very
Okay, so
instinctively.
you are a generator as well.
I
Yes.
am,
So am
yeah.
I. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And very splenic. I've got no emotional kind of like wave to ride out or anything like that. So it was a drizzly January day in London. And if anyone's been in the grey of the UK when it's just depressing, it was that. And I walked out of the place that we were about to take over a new lease on, very expensive Harley Street leases. And I just looked at my phone and I thought, I can't do this. I can't do this. And I walked home, and it was about half an hour in the drizzling rain. And I spoke to my mum, and I just played the mental thought exercise of what's actually the cost, the consequence of me saying no to this life that I've built and created, and yes to there's something in me that isn't being fulfilled by this. And as I broke down that thought process, I realized that the cost was nothing. The consequence of me staying was far greater than the cost of me going and leaving. And I was very aware that I could take everything digital. So I didn't ditch all of my patients. I didn't say no immediately. That happened over time. But I just was like, I can see them online. That this internet thing works. I can just go and take space for me to work out what was really the truth that I needed to be bringing into the world.
Wow. Wow. And for you to be so brave in
Mhm.
walking away from something that seemingly sounded so, so big and so much coordination and all of the things that go into literally having a brick and mortar practice, that too in a
Yeah.
very high end real estate part of London,
Yes.
and for you to kind of say nope. And what I'm even hearing in your story is how you just simply turned inward and
Mm,
started to just truly connect with what your soul was really calling for. And
mm,
so many times we shut down our intuition, and so it seems like, okay, so you said no and you were like, all right, I'm going to simplify my practice.
mhm.
And was South Africa in the cards at this point, or when did you realize that you were just going to go to South
So
Africa?
I had a friend who had just gone out there. He's actually from South Africa, and he'd gone out there to set up his chiropractic business. And I just texted him and said, do you need any help? I was like, just, I've built clinics, I can do this. And yeah, he didn't particularly need help, but I needed a break. And so I booked a 5-week holiday that ended up in being 17 months. So it was just a place that I had one person, and was
Mm.
totally different. But I was literally on the plane, and the pilot was saying, we'll be crossing the equator at about whatever time. And I was like, I've never been to the Southern Hemisphere. What am I actually doing? This is insane. So there was a lot of kind of just blind faith and naivety, but a lot of like, I really need to take a complete break. It needs to be so completely different, because I think we do this. We just get on the train of what we think our life is, and we just keep riding that train. And
Mhm.
if I hadn't taken an abrupt, different, like left turn, then it would have just been easier to keep in somewhat of a similar groove. So this brand new place that I'd never been, knew very little about. But I had one person, so like I went.
Amazing. And
Mm.
isn't it so profound because there's, there's this good stress that I tend to talk about where if you are going to, like you said, to keep on that same train, you would never know what other pathways that could lead to other aspects about you and really turn on aspects about you that are dormant or just like yearning to come alive. And it seems like, this invoking or even like jumping ship into like that good stress that we kind of need to shift up our environment, change our environment. I mean, that's exactly what you did. See you next time at the Brave Table.